Tonight we're diving into something you use every day but rarely think about: rare earth minerals, the unsung heroes behind our modern conveniences. Despite their name, these minerals aren't actually rare, but they're incredibly tough and costly to extract and process from the earth. And think of them as the secret spices in the recipe of modern technology, used in tiny amounts yet absolutely essential for the devices we rely on. These 17 elements power your smartphone, computer, headphones, and even the bright vivid screens on your favorite devices. Names like neodymium and dysprosium might sound unfamiliar, but without them, your tech simply wouldn't work the way you expect. They're also critical for green energy. Wind turbines, electric cars, and even solar panels depend on these elements to function efficiently. Without rare earths, our devices would be bulkier, less powerful, and far more expensive to produce and buy. Mining is just the start. Processing these minerals is a complex, dirty, and expensive journey that requires advanced technology and expertise. Only a handful of countries have the know-how and infrastructure to turn raw ore into the high-tech components that power our world. This concentration of capability is creating a global challenge, as nations compete for access and control. The world is waking up to the fact that the supply of these vital materials isn't guaranteed, and shortages could disrupt entire industries. It's a story about technology, national security, and a race to control the building blocks of the 21st century, one that affects us all. The US is especially vulnerable, as these materials are crucial for both industry and defense, making their supply a matter of national importance. The journey of rare earths from mine to market is shaping the future of global power, influencing economies and international relations. And as the world becomes ever more connected and dependent on technology, the stakes couldn't be higher. For decades, China has quietly built a near monopoly on rare earth minerals, a group of elements essential for modern technology and clean energy. Today, China mines about 70% of the world's rare earths, but even more significantly, it processes a staggering 90% of them, dominating the global supply chain. Even if another country digs up the minerals, they usually have to send them to China for refining, since few nations have the expertise or infrastructure to do it themselves. China also manufactures 93% of the world's rare earth magnets, crucial for everything from fighter jets and wind turbines to smartphones and electric vehicles. For some metals, like gallium, China's control is almost total. 98% of global production comes from within its borders, leaving the rest of the world dependent. This dominance wasn't accidental. It was a deliberate long-term strategy, carefully planned and executed by the Chinese government. Decades ago, China invested billions to master the dirty, expensive work others avoided, building up expertise and infrastructure while other countries looked away. The world, happy to buy cheap rare earths, didn't consider the risks of dependence, prioritizing short-term savings over long-term security. Now, that dependence is a glaring vulnerability, exposing industries and governments to potential supply shocks. China's grip on every step, from mine to magnet, gives it enormous leverage in global politics and trade, shaping the balance of power. It can influence prices, control supply, and decide who gets these essential materials, using its dominance as a powerful bargaining chip. This isn't just about economics, it's about national security, as rare earths are vital for advanced military and defense systems. The US and its allies are now scrambling to respond to a problem that's been building for years, seeking alternatives and new sources. China's rare earth strategy has turned minerals into a powerful geopolitical weapon, reshaping global alliances and rivalries. The world is learning that control over these resources means control over the future, as technology and security depend on them. And right now, China holds the cards, shaping the fate of industries, economies, and nations worldwide. America's dependence on China for rare earths is already causing real pain. When China halted exports this year, US defense production slowed, F-35 jets and Patriot missiles were delayed. Ford had to shut down plants for weeks, costing millions, simply because it couldn't get the magnets needed for its trucks. This isn't just about cars or planes, it's about the backbone of American industry and security. Nearly every advanced technology, from MRI machines to internet servers, relies on rare earths. The US has the minerals in the ground, but lacks the processing power to turn them into usable components. Rebuilding that capability will take years and billions of dollars. Meanwhile, America's economic health and national security are tied to a supply chain controlled by its biggest rival. In a crisis, China could cut off these materials overnight, crippling key industries. This is more than a trade issue. It's a fundamental threat to American independence. The recent shutdowns were a wake-up call. The cost of dependence is no longer hypothetical. It's here. Recently, China flexed its rare earth muscle with strict new export controls, sending shockwaves through the global technology industry. Now, any product containing even a trace of Chinese rare earths needs a government license to leave the country. This sweeping policy covers everything from smartphones and electric vehicles to advanced medical devices. This isn't just a tariff, it's direct control over the global tech supply chain, giving China unprecedented leverage over industries worldwide. American tech giants like Nvidia are feeling the squeeze as their access to critical materials suddenly hangs in the balance. US rules block advanced chip sales to China. In response, China's controls threaten to choke off the materials needed to make those chips, escalating the standoff. Nvidia's CEO warns that losing access to China's market and supply chain could isolate American technology and help China develop its own alternatives, potentially shifting the balance of power in tech. This is a high-stakes chess match, each side using its strengths to pressure the other, with every move watched by governments and corporations alike. China's move is a clear message. Attempts to slow its tech industry will have consequences, and it's willing to use its dominance in rare earths as a bargaining chip. For US companies, the uncertainty is growing. Will they get the materials they need, or will shipments be blocked? The anxiety is spreading across boardrooms and factory floors. The stakes are enormous. Whoever controls rare earths can shape the future of AI, green tech, and defense, influencing everything from clean energy to national security. The US must now confront the reality of its dependence on a strategic rival and consider how to secure its own supply chains for the future. The global tech race is no longer just about innovation. It's about access and control, and the ability to withstand economic and political shocks. China's power play has raised the stakes for everyone, forcing companies and countries to rethink their strategies and alliances. The world is watching to see who will blink first, as the next move could reshape the future of technology and global power. China's rare earth strategy is part of a bigger vision, Made in China 2025. This plan aims to make China the world leader in high-tech industries, robotics, AI, electric vehicles, and more. The goal isn't just to make more products, but to dominate the most advanced sectors. Massive government investment fuels research, development, and homegrown companies. Controlling rare earths is central, securing the raw materials for future industries. President Xi Jinping has called supply chain control a powerful tool and deterrent. The more the world needs China, the more leverage China has. These export controls aren't just reactions, they're steps in a long-term strategy. The US is now racing to catch up to a plan that's been unfolding for a decade. China isn't just making the world dependent on its resources, it's also reducing its own vulnerabilities. It's diversifying supply chains for food and energy, buying soybeans from Brazil, beef from Australia, and oil from Russia and the Middle East. By spreading out its sourcing, China protects itself from disruptions and trade pressure. This two-sided strategy makes China a formidable competitor. It corners critical materials while insulating itself from outside shocks. The US, meanwhile, is only now waking up to the fragility of its own supply chains. China's careful planning gives it a significant advantage. While America scrambles to secure rare earths, China has spent years building resilience. The fortress is nearly complete, and the world is feeling the effects. As the US faces China's challenge, it's also weighed down by massive national debt, over $37 trillion. This year, America will spend more on interest payments than on its entire military. That leaves less money for investing in new technologies or rebuilding manufacturing. The debt acts like an anchor, slowing America's response just when bold action is needed. Some propose huge tariffs on Chinese goods, but even advocates admit it would hurt US consumers. Replicating China's rare earth capacity would cost over $140 billion and take decades. For just one element, gallium, the US would need to build 6 new nuclear plants. The scale of the challenge is staggering. America is at a crossroads, forced to make tough choices about where to focus its limited resources. The clock is ticking. Despite these challenges, American innovation remains a powerful force. Take Liberty Defense, a company developing HexWave, a new security system that detects both metal and non-metal threats in real time. Using millimeter wave radar and AI, HexWave can screen hundreds of people per hour, making airports and stadiums safer. The TSA now requires all U.S. airports to screen for non-metallic threats by 2026, creating a huge opportunity for this technology. Developed at MIT's Lincoln Labs, HexWave shows how government and private industry can work together. Over $6 million in contracts have already been awarded to upgrade airport scanners. While America rebuilds its supply chains, it's also leading in next-gen security tech. Innovation is still America's ace in the hole. As 2025 draws to a close, America faces tough choices. Ending dependence on China for rare earths will take years of investment and hard decisions. The upcoming APEC summit will test whether the US and China can manage their rivalry, or escalate it. America could reshore mining and processing, but it's costly and slow. Or it could build alliances with countries like Australia and Canada to create a secure supply chain. The likely path is a mix, some reshoring, deeper partnerships, and relentless innovation. The wake-up call has sounded. The risks are clear. The decisions made now will shape America's future in a more competitive, uncertain world.